Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I'm going to be talking about Critical Role, Matt Mercer, Taliesin Jaffe, and Taliesin Jaffe's player character death of Mollymauk from the Mighty Nine. All right, so let's jump in. All right, so first let me... so Mollymauk is the player character of Taliesin Jaffe. And Mollymauk, the player character, recently died in the most recent Critical Role game. When this happened, it made news in my Twitter feeds, and everybody was saying, hey, this is what was being said on Twitter. Everybody's mad at Matt Mercer. And then I saw just a tidal wave of support for Matt Mercer coming in, saying, oh, Matt, it's okay, it's too bad all these people are yelling at you on the internet, right? So I had to look it up, right? Now, one, I do not make my way over to Reddit very often. I do not hold I don't really hold any value in Reddit. I'm not a fan of Reddit, right? Every time I go there, it looks like, like you could pick a nugget of gold out of a mountain of trash. I'm not a fan of Reddit, right? When I go over there, I just don't see the appeal, right? But I want to give credit where credit's due. Reddit answered this question immediately for me and said, and I just put in, why are people mad at Matthew Mercer? Reddit had the answer right there. It was like, number 2 or 3 in the Google posts, and I was able to find out. So it was because of Mollymauk's death, right? So people have been watching the second campaign for Critical Role, okay? I believe that campaign is the Mighty Nine. So it's these characters that the Critical Role players are using, and Mollymauk is within the Critical Role sphere, one of the characters, and this character was killed in one of the recent games. And a lot of people got really upset with Matthew Mercer, right? Now, here's the issue, right? I think the reason that they got upset with Matthew Mercer is because Matthew Mercer is a fun, is greater than raw dungeon master, okay? So, I think that's the reason they got upset, and that's the issue. Is I really don't support this. So one, this isn't me saying Matthew Mercer is a fun over raw dungeon master. Those are his words. He actually tweeted it. There was like a situation that came up in the game, and he's like, fun over raw. I thought he said fun equals raw. He says fun is greater than raw. Rules as written. Rules as written. So he's like fun over rules. No, right? That is bad dungeon mastering, in my opinion, right? Not good dungeon mastering. Now, here's the issue, right? If Matt Mercer's just running his own game and doing his thing, I don't really have anything to say. That's his business, right? But the reality is, in my opinion, right now, Matthew Mercer, without a doubt, is the face of Dungeons & Dragons. And there are more people learning how to play Dungeons & Dragons from Matt Mercer than anyone else, including Mike Merles, right? So he is teaching an entire generation and a lot of older generation people how to dungeon master. And that's a serious problem. Fun greater than raw produces the exact problem you're seeing right now. People very upset with Matthew Mercer because Mollymauk, a player character in his game, died, right? And they feel that Matt Mercer is responsible for this. Well, Matt Mercer's response back is saying, oh, hey, I don't pull my punches. Well, guess what? You do pull your punches, right? That's always been my issue with fun over rules, right? This is where this leads, right? To people being very upset with you as a dungeon master, when a player character dies. And the reason why is if you have made a point at your table to say, oh, hey, guess what? You're not allowed to cast that spell for the day because you've already used that spell slot. It's blank. But you know what? The idea of you casting a fireball on the grease the grease from the kitchen area, that go ahead. It doesn't matter that you don't have a spell slot left. Go ahead and cast that fireball. Fun over rules, right? Well, see, that's just it. You're saying, I'm the dungeon master, I'm going to use my power, and all the rules that you've written, all the strong build options that the alpha players have put into their characters, that doesn't matter. If I think it's fun, it's going to happen, right? And I'm like, just go write a novel. Stop dungeon mastering if you want to do this, right? You can have complete control at this point, right? Rules matter, builds matter. Fun over rules is flat out wrong, and this Mollymauk situation is absolutely, in my opinion, proof that fun over rules is bad DMing. And the problem with this is Matt Mercer is teaching more people to dungeon master than anybody else in the hobby right now, right? So this is a problem. This is a real problem. So, you know, and the reason also is, the reason why people have a legitimate reason to be upset with Matthew Mercer, right, is that if you're going to go fun over raw, that means the dice don't matter, right? So when he rolled the dice and his character died, Matt Mercer has already established that he will overrule whatever the dice does. So he is arbitrarily being a tough DM here. The reality is he's not a tough DM. He's fun over rules. He's a fluff DM, right? And we have a situation now where Mollymauk's dead because he didn't say Mollymauk's okay, just the way he let an extra fireball be cast, or let a monster drop before all the hit points were gone. That's the point. He's established, I don't care about the rules. The moment a dungeon master says I don't care about the rules, that dungeon master is responsible for every single player character's safety and health at his table, because characters die by die rolls, right? And if you have established that you're willing to ignore die rolls, then you're going to get this problem, right? And just to make this super clear, I do not make any secret die rolls at my table. Every single die roll I make is public. I actually go, I make sure that the players know I'm not going to be responsible for their player's death, and that if their character's going to die, it's because the dice said they're going to die, not me, right? And I think Dungeon Masters owe this to every player character, so that rules over fun, right? And and here's the issue: if people don't like that, right, go get players that think that obeying the rules, right, and following the rules, and making sure that the 250 to 750 pages of content your players read actually mattered, right? Because if it's just fun over rules, well, then you can get a player who never reads a word, and they're going to be just as effective as any player who didn't, right? And so, all right. So I do want to talk about a few things, though. Okay, so Matt in connection to the Mollymauk death, Matthew Mercer has a community of people who follow him. Okay, so here's the issue. So he has a public game. In the thread, at the bottom of his YouTube video, there's a comments thread. On their on Critical Role's Facebook page, there's a comment thread. On Twitter, there's hashtag Critical Role. That's a comment thread, right? Those spaces, those social media spaces, are places for civil discourse only, right? And within civil discourse is a subset called intellectual disagreement. I support everyone who engaged Matthew Mercer in civil discourse, took that to the level of intellectual disagreement, and said, I think you're wrong, Matt Mercer. I think you were wrong to let Mollymauk die. And now, I'm no longer going to be watching the channel, right? That's civil disagreement, right? You're saying, I think what you did was wrong, and I'm not going to watch the channel anymore, right? That is a statement of intellectual disagreement, and then also a statement of action, right? Which is a completely legitimate action, right? I absolutely do not support in any way anyone who had less than civil discourse with Matthew Mercer. If anybody cursed at him, if anybody name called him, if anybody threatened him, right, with anything, including I'm no longer going to watch your channel, right? Threats, that's not cool, man. Absolutely not cool. Cursing, name calling, threats, none of that is cool, right? You can state what you're going to do, right? Which is, I'm going to stop watching the channel. That's a completely legitimate action that you're going to take, right? or I'm no longer going to buy product from, Critical Role products, things like that, right? Those are legitimate actions that can be taken because of civil disagreement. So it's because of intellectual disagreement that came from civil discourse. I 100% support civil discourse. I do not support uncivil discourse, and I support intellectual disagreement. I absolutely do not support a single viewer who cursed at him, name-called him, or threatened him in any way. That is absolutely... And by the way, I'll just say this real quick. Of course, all of this, you have to obey the law. If anybody did anything that's against the law, that's outrageously out of line. And that has nothing to do with Critical Role. That has to do with the law. I also support the law and a civil society, So, in case that wasn't super clear. But yeah, so I really support, civil discourse. I support intellectual disagreement. The reason why I support intellectual disagreement is I'm an absolute massive fan of Malcolm Gladwell. Guy's 10 times smarter than I am, and he is a champion of intellectual disagreement. So I know that gentlemen and super smart people can have intellectual disagreement, and that's okay, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? So everybody out there who used civil discourse to have an intellectual disagreement with Matt Mercer over this, I'm in your corner. I think he was wrong, right? Anybody who cursed at any Critical Role player or Matt Mercer, and cursed at Matt Mercer, called Matt Mercer names, or threatened Matt Mercer, that is absolutely not cool, and I am not in your corner, right? So just wanted to make, that's my take on Mollymauk's death. Thank you.